Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports podcast. On the host of this podcast, Lane Frank, we're now on episode 232. So 232 episodes through, and I got an action-packed episode planned for you. The MLB playoffs are here. NFL, what a great week we had. We're going to break it all down. College football, we had some great games last week, and we've got some even better ones coming up in week 5. We got a lot to talk about on episode 232, so let's hop into it. Let's start off episode 232, how we always do, with our headlines in the NBA. Zion Williamson is back and due for a breakout season. I saw Zion at that media day and I thought, well, he looks good. He looks like he's in shape. And there's a reason why I think the Pelicans had their media days, one of the first, if not the first, in the NBA this season, because Zion looks new and improved. If you saw the photo from last year, 24-25, Zion looked, as he liked to say, lackadaisical, not really into it, basketball-wise. But this season, Zion Williamson looks like he's good to go. We're ready to go for a great season. I like this Pelicans team. I think it's an interesting core. I think you need to slide Derek Queen in there, a few other guys. It could be a very interesting season for the New Orleans Pelicans, especially with a new and improved Zion Williamson. Ace Bailey and Omar Cooper have broken off their partnership, which was probably the worst managed partnership in sports history. I think it was forced on by the league, which is good because Omar Cooper was extremely underqualified to be an agent for an NBA player, let alone a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. Ace Bailey and the Utah Jazz will no longer be dealing with the clown show of Omar Cooper. In the NFL, we had a great week 3, starting off the Bills taking down the Dolphins at Thursday Night Football. Good game from Josh Allen, always looking good on Thursday Night Football. Did again this time. The Browns, the most interesting game of the week, where they were down 13-0 with 3.5 minutes left, and they won that game. 10-0 with 3.5 minutes left, winning 13-10. Great win for the Browns. Some good field goal kicking, some good defense, and some good quarterback play towards the end of the game by Joe Flacco. Cincinnati Bengals got steamrolled on Sunday by the Minnesota Vikings. A thing I didn't expect to happen. It is the battle of the backup quarterbacks, Jake Browning and Carson Wentz, but Wentz and the Vikings slaughtered them 48-10. That's something you got to worry about. If you can't score points for the Bengals, your defense definitely isn't going to stop anybody, and that's exactly what happened on Sunday. The defense isn't there. If it's not there for the Bengals, well, really nothing is going to work because the offense is what the Bengals rely on right now. They don't have a defense. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, that's their core, not the defense. When there's no Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase clicking, it's not going to work out in Cincinnati, and that's what we saw on Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. The Indianapolis Colts are looking like real contenders this season. 3-0, big win over the Titans. Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor, a great quarterback, running back tandem going for them right now. Pittsburgh Steelers are finally playing up to their potential as the best defense in the NFL. Mike Tomlin is getting the best out of every player in that field, especially Jalen Ramsey. I love to see it. Philadelphia Eagles had an eventful Sunday, going down, I think it was 26-9 at one point, or maybe 26-7, rallying all the way back to win that game. 33-26, Jordan Davis, blocked, field goal, touchdown, even though they were up a point, but still, big win for the Eagles on Sunday, statement win. Buccaneers had another great win Sunday, this time moving the New York Jets. They'll play Philadelphia in Tampa Bay on Sunday. Carolina Panthers had the best game of the Bryce Young, Dave Canales era. Probably David Tepper's time as an owner too. 30-0 shutout over the Falcons. Panthers could be doing some dangerous stuff this year in the NFC South division. Chargers, good win on Sunday, moving to 3-0 on the season. Seahawks took down New Orleans Saints, who are a clown show right now, 44-10. It was a huge halftime deficit. I think they had 35 at halftime. They got 6 halftime Saints. It wasn't a good game, but good to see from the Seahawks. This defense is rolling, and Sam Darnold's playing like the quarterback we all know he can be. Saints obviously struggling. Blake Group was their best player on Sunday. That's their kicker. The Chicago Bears, huge win over the Dallas Cowboys. Matt Eberflus thought he knew his old squad inside and out. Clearly not. The Bears got the better of him. Caleb Williams probably played his best game of his NFL career on Sunday, and that's why they got his best win of his NFL career on Sunday. Kansas City Chiefs took down New York Giants on Sunday Night Football 22-9, which prompted the quarterback change today of Russell Wilson being benched for Jackson Dart. Huge switch going on in New York. Dart for Wilson. Now, I thought Jameis might have been the backup for this team, but hey, if you want to roll Dart in there, I'm all for it. Jackson Dart played at a very young time in his college football career at USC. He's going to do the same in the NFL right here with the New York Giants. The Detroit Lions got a statement win on Monday Night Football over the Ravens. I thought the Ravens would get that one big. No, the Lions did well enough on defense, and that offense was impeccable on Monday night. That's why they got the win over the Baltimore Ravens, setting Baltimore to 1-2 on the season. In the MLB, we're closing up on the regular season. The Mets are still fighting for a spot with the Reds and the Diamondbacks. We've got AL Central Division race going on right now between the Tigers and the Guardians. When just a few weeks ago it was really out of control and the Tigers were running away with it, we're closing in there. Judge got 50 home runs tonight, and Kyle Schwarber, fighting for that MVP, has 2 home runs tonight. That's about for the headlines. Leave your thoughts in the comments. It's time for Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. We got a great slate this week. Week 4 of the NFL season. Vikings versus Steelers getting us off on Sunday in the early slate. Let's go to Pittsburgh over Minnesota. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like this defense. I don't like Carson Wentz, and I think the Steelers get the win here. Panthers versus the Patriots. This isn't a great game, but I just think it's intriguing. You have Drake May, a young quarterback, Bryce Young, a young quarterback. I like how the Panthers played last week. I think the Patriots are not reaching their full potential, but they can. I'm going to go with the Panthers in this one over the Patriots. Bryce Young gets another big win on Sunday. Chargers versus the Giants. As much as I'd love to see Jackson Dart play well in this one, I think Justin Herbert might just be the best player in the NFL right now. This season, the Chargers are on fire. 4-0 for LA. Chargers over the Giants. Eagles versus the Buccaneers. They say Tampa Bay is the place where Eagles go to die. And I think that proves point right here. The Buccaneers take down the Eagles. And we start asking, is Baker Mayfield an MVP? Are the Buccaneers the best team in the NFL? We're going to start thinking about that when they move to 4-0 on Sunday with a win over the Eagles. Colts versus the Rams. Battle between two teams, two quarterbacks that have had good starts this season, Stafford and Daniel Jones. I actually think Daniel Jones and the Colts keep on riding this high. They moved to 4-0 in the season. Big win for the Colts on Sunday. Jaguars versus the 49ers. Jaguars have a good record, but don't let that fool you. I don't think they're a solid team. I like the Niners over the Jaguars in this one. Liam Cohen, still too young as a head coach, does not outmaster Kyle Shanahan in this one. Ravens versus the Chiefs. I like the Ravens in this one. I think the Chiefs are slumping still. I thought they didn't play well last week against my Giants. I think the Ravens are kind of not reaching their full potential. I see from the Chiefs is like, I haven't seen good from them in any parts of these games. For the Ravens, it's like, well, they look like a Super Bowl team in this part of the game. If they can hold on to the football, if they can clean up some mistakes, I think they will on Sunday, and they'll get the win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Bears versus the Raiders. I like the Bears in this one. I think the Raiders are struggling. They don't have an offensive line. Geno Smith isn't a good quarterback. Genty can't get going. Receivers can't get separation. Bears are riding a good win last week. Chicago over Las Vegas. Packers versus the Cowboys. The Packers own Dallas, and that proves again on Sunday. Jordan Love bounces back, and they get a win over the Dallas Cowboys. Jets versus the Dolphins. No Zach Wilson revenge game. No Tua Tagovailoa injury here. I just think it's a plain, straight-out loss for the Miami Dolphins, and the Jets get it done. Aaron Glenn has been coaching a very good job the past few weeks, yet he hasn't got a win. He gets his signature win over the Miami Dolphins. Maybe not signature, but gets his first win over the Dolphins in the NFL to move to 1-3 on the season for the New York Jets. Bengals versus the Broncos in the last game of the week on Monday Night Football. Bengals are struggling. I don't know if they're going to win a game without Joe Burrow. I think the Broncos and Bo Nix have had some rough luck this season, so let's go with the Broncos over the Bengals in this one. And that's about it for Schoolyard Sports NFL Game Day. We haven't done this one before. We're doing top 5, but we've never done the top 5 cities in the world for sports. So let's hop into it. The 5th best city in the world for sports is Chicago. You have the White Sox, you have the Bears, you have the Cubs, you have the Blackhawks, of course you have the Bulls, you have the Chicago Sky, you have Northwestern, you have Chicago, and it's great weather. You're on the lake. I think it's a great sports city. You have multi-teams for multi-leagues, like baseball, you have, 2 teams, basketball, you have the Bulls. I think it's great right here. Chicago, a city I wouldn't mind living in as a sports fan. Number 5. Number 4, LA. Now, LA has everything you need as a sports fan. but it lacks some passion for me. You have USC, you have UCLA, you have the Dodgers, you have the Angels, you have the Rams, you have the basketball teams. There's just not enough passion. But say you're bored, say you want to go to any game, it's going to be available for you whenever you want to watch and go to a game in LA. That's why it's number 4 on my list, because there's guaranteed a sporting event in LA almost every single night. 4, LA. 3, let's go European here. London. London has, I think, 17 soccer clubs. You get the NFL series going there sometimes. A booming economy for American sports. Basketball is going over there a little bit. I think football could start to see a huge takeover. American football. And as a soccer fan, London can be great. 3, London. 2 and 1. I'm going to do it together. I'm a New York guy. I love New York teams. I'm a Giants fan. I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Rangers fan. But I don't think it's the best city in the world for sports. I think the best city in the world for sports is Boston. Now, New York is 2. But the reason Boston is number 1 is because for Boston, everybody's united. You have everything. You have NFL. You have NHL. You have MLB. You have NBA. All things you have in New York, too. But in New York, you can see a guy, a fanatic in the streets. He could be a Jets fan. You could disagree with him on that, but you could both be Mets fans. There's so many teams in New York that there's so many different opinions. There's passion in New York for these teams, but it's not like Boston, because everybody in Boston is going to be a Patriots fan. Everybody's going to be a Celtics fan. Everybody's going to be rooting for the Bruins. Not necessarily Boston College ever, but Boston is the city for sports, in my opinion. Number 1 on the list. The best city in the world for sports is Boston. And that's about for top 5 this week. Now, did you know? This week's Did You Know is, did you know NHL player Bill Mosienski on March 23rd, 1952 had a hat trick in 21 seconds? Did you know that? Leave down in the comments. That's about for Did You Know this week. Now, I've been doing this show since I was 12 years old. There's been 2 things that have remained on this show since I've been 12 years old. I talk fast, and I do Contenders Pretenders after week 3 of the NFL season. Both those things still happen, and we're going to do Contenders Pretenders in the NFL because week 3 just wrapped up. Bills, are they Contenders or Pretenders? Sitting at 3-0 on the season. Easy Contenders for me. The Colts, I told you earlier, they are Contenders at 3-0. How about the Cardinals? 2-1 on the season, having a good start so far. I'm going to go with Pretenders. I like Kyler Murray, but I don't know how this offensive and defensive line holds up throughout the season. Their trench play isn't great. Marvin Harrison isn't improving. They've gotten lucky. They're Pretenders on the season. What about the Chargers? I like the Chargers. I do. But do I see a 17-0? Do I see a 14-win, 15-win, even 13-win season out of them? I don't. Pretenders, Chargers, 11-win team. Not necessarily Contenders for a Super Bowl, unless you win a few more games to convince me otherwise. Pretenders for now, the Los Angeles Chargers. Bengals, easy Pretenders. I mean, they have a good record, 2-1, but they're Pretenders, no doubt about it. What about the Steelers? Steelers are Contenders. There's been games this year where it's like, oh, the defense is bad, but then also the defense has been great the past week. Week 1 was shaky. They closed it up at the end. Jalen Ramsey. They have that it factor. They have that factor where they can clutch up at the end of the games. They have a great quarterback for a reason. They have a great coach in Mike Tomlin and a great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. And that defense is elite. Steelers are Contenders, in my opinion. What about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Sitting at 2-1, not bad. Easy Pretenders. Too young of a core. Brian Thomas, too young. Liam Cohen, too young as a play caller and a head coach. This guy was the Kentucky offense coordinator less than 5 years ago. He's a head coach in the NFL now. He's not underqualified, but he's young. Jaguars, Pretenders. And the last one I got for you, the Seahawks. Are they Contenders or are they Pretenders? They are Contenders. Mike MacDonald, one of my favorite names in the NFL. My Michigan defense coordinator in 2021. Thank you, Mike Mack. Has this team as Contenders, and Sam Darnold is rolling right now. That's about it for Contenders and Pretenders in the NFL. Year 5? Year 6 of this? Wow. We've been doing this for a while, but the 2025-2026 NFL season through week 3, these are the Contenders, these are the Pretenders. Still more to come on episode 232. Stay tuned. You know Clemson's a city in South Carolina? It's not like Duke where it's just like a name. Duke. No, it's a real city. Clemson, South Carolina. You know the reason people know about Clemson is because of Dabo Swinney. Clemson isn't a huge school. It's in the ACC, sure, but so is Wake Forest. Wake Forest isn't the biggest school ever. Wake Forest is kind of irrelevant sometimes, but Clemson isn't. But maybe they were before Dabo Swinney came around. Dabo Swinney transcended this program, took them off. I mean, since Dabo Swinney took over in 2008, from 2011 until now, he has had 10 wins or more every single season. I don't think anybody else in college football has done that. Nobody. We all know college football has changed over the past few years, but everybody's been able to adjust, it seems like. Maybe the Mike Gundys get left behind, the Nick Sabans want to retire, but Dabo still had 10-win seasons in there. He still did. He still has good players. Cade Klubnik is a 5-star still. So why now is Clemson football falling off a cliff? It has been on the edge of the cliff since Trevor Lawrence and his team lost in that championship game, semifinal game, to Ohio State back in 2020. Because they won championships in 16, 18, where Dabo was willing to make those bold calls like Deshaun Watson to Hunter Renfrow, a walk-on at the time for the win. Like in 2018, to bench a quarterback who got you the number 1 seed in the college football playoff the year before, Kelly Bryant, for some freshman, Trevor Lawrence. It paid off, though. They won a national championship. When I look at Dabo Swinney nowadays, I don't see that same fire. I don't see that same drive to go after it. Because I think a big thing in sports that a lot of people get comfortable with is the word complacency. Dabo Swinney is complacent at Clemson. He has tenure, but so did Mike Gundy, didn't he? Didn't Mike Gundy have tenure at Oklahoma State? We thought he'd be there forever. Who else could lead Oklahoma State? Who else could rock a mullet and be the head coach there? Nobody. At least we thought. But now Mike Gundy's gone. Dabo Swinney is going to be able to leave on his own terms. But should he have to? Should Clemson be the ones to fire Dabo Swinney? I think so. I think Dabo Swinney, if he can't get his act together, then maybe it's time to let him go in the next year or two. Now, I want to make one thing really clear. Clemson is not supposed to be a 10-win program every year. That's why I said at the start of the segment, they're like a Wake Forest. They're irrelevant. They were irrelevant before Dabo Swinney. I mean, Clemson fans would be crying on their knees if you could told them back in 2008 that this guy would get them 10-win seasons every year from 11 to 25. But that's what he's done, Dabo Swinney. Do they want to go back in the gutter and go back to being irrelevant? I don't think so. But the way you stop that from happening is you fire Dabo Swinney. Because right now, the Clemson brand is still at an all-time high. Clemson is a big brand in college football because of what Dabo did for this program. Getting rid of Dabo, but to open up that job as a main job in college football. Now, Dabo, if he stays there, ruins this program for another 10 years, it's an unattractive job. Think of Nebraska football. Nebraska football, before my time, was a powerhouse. Then it became a job nobody wanted because they held on too long to what they thought they once had. Clemson is holding on too long to what they thought they must have. Dabo has tenure, and he got comfortable. But he shouldn't have that. Dabo Swinney should be fired if they cannot close out this season in a strong way. Last season, got lucky. You won the ACC, you had 3 losses, you got lucky. Cade Klubnik is a complete and total bust for this college football team. Complete bust. Cade Klubnik did nothing to show me that he was a Clemson-worthy quarterback. He didn't win a championship. He's just as good as DJ Uwangale. He really is. He's no better than Kelly Bryant. Kelly Bryant made a semifinal. Kelly Bryant had the number 1 team in the country at one point. Cade Klubnik never had that. Is it Dabo's fault? Maybe. Maybe it is. But Dabo Swinney and Clemson got complacent. Clemson is no powerhouse without Dabo Swinney. But if they keep him, the powerhouse will no longer be there either. That's about it from my scream on Dabo Swinney and Clemson football. Because what I saw on Saturday was embarrassing. Losing the Fran Brown Syracuse at home. Tough times in Clemson, South Carolina. College Ball Showcase coming up next. Stay tuned. Now, College Football Showcase. You know how we roll. I give you my top 25. We break it down. Then I give you my 6 hot takes for the week. Number 1, Ohio State. 2, Oregon. 3, LSU. 4, Miami. 5, Georgia. 6, Penn State. 7, Texas. 8, Oklahoma. 9, Florida State. 10, Texas A&M. 11, Alabama. 12, Ole Miss. 13, Texas Tech. 14, Indiana. 15, Georgia Tech. 16 Iowa State, 17 Tennessee, 18 Michigan, 19 South Florida, 20 Mizzou, 21 TCU, 22 Vanderbilt, 23 Notre Dame, 24 USC, and 25 the Illinois Fighting Illini, even though there wasn't much fighting on Saturday against Indiana. Let's break it down. Start with 25, Illinois. They didn't fight at all on Sunday. They were a top 10 team on Saturday, and they got demolished by Indiana, 63-10. A beating. I don't see those beatings to Power 5 football. Testament to Indiana. They move up a ton. Testament to Illinois, who I still think is a top 25 team. Just the worst one. They take on 24 USC this week. Let's go to 19 in South Florida. I'm keeping them in here. I think that South Florida is still a solid team. A lot of people kick them out of their rankings after the Miami game. Let's keep South Florida in there. 18 Michigan, great road win over the weekend over Nebraska. 14 Indiana. Like I said, Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, number 1 pick, Heisman, all a possibility for Kurt Cignetti, who still has not lost a home game in his time at Indiana. 13 Texas Tech, great win on Saturday over Utah. At Utah. 12, Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss is the truth in college football. 11, Alabama. Big showdown with Georgia this week. 8, Oklahoma. You hate to see it, but John Mateer is a broken thumb, and he's going to be out for a long time, it seems like. At least 1 month with hand surgery. 7, Texas. Red River coming up soon. I think that's what their plan is on right now. 6, Penn State. Game of the week against Oregon. Can't wait to see that one. 4, Miami. Just keep on fighting. Keep on fighting. 3, LSU. They play Ole Miss. Also going to be a great showdown. And 1, Ohio State. Remaining at number 1. Big game against Washington this week. Every top team is going to be challenged this week. And you're going to have to wait and see my hot takes for my picks are on those games. Coming up next, college football hot takes week 5. Ooh, it's burning up in this room right now for the hot takes week 5. The hottest week we've got so far in college football matchup-wise. And I want to start out with a bang. The number 1 team in the country, Ohio State, goes over to Seattle, Washington, and loses to Jedd Fisch and Demond Williams Jr. It's not Desmond Williams Jr., it's Demond Williams Jr. He plays like a demon on Saturday, and they beat Julian Sayin in his first career road start. Washington over the Buckeyes. LSU over Ole Miss. I like Trinidad Chambliss. I like Lane Kiffin, but I think LSU, Caden Durham, Garrett Nussmeier, a little too much in this one for the home crowd at the Grove and Ole Miss. LSU over Ole Miss. Texas A&M over Auburn. This will be a fun game. I think Texas A&M is a great team this year. I think Auburn had a rough game last week against Oklahoma. I like Texas A&M actually big in this one over Auburn. Mississippi State over Tennessee, a big upset. Joey Aguilar had a great game a few weeks ago. He's still a Heisman contender. I wish they won that game a few weeks ago, but they're prone to an upset right here, and I think it happens. I think Blake Shapen has revitalized his career. I think Jeff Lebby's having his best season in Starkville. They're 4-0. They have a win over Arizona State. They think they ride the momentum. They get the cowbells going here. Mississippi State over Tennessee. Oregon over Penn State, and what I think is a great game. Second best game of the week to Alabama versus Georgia, or a game of the week. But let's go with Oregon over Penn State. I think Oregon in the whiteout is going to be a great matchup. We haven't seen the whiteout be a great game in such a long time. Last time I could think of the whiteout being a great game were the Ohio State games in 18, the Ohio State game in 16, the Michigan game in 17, the Michigan game in 19, the Auburn game in 21. But now we get another one. Oregon versus Penn State. Another great coast-to-coast matchup, but the Ducks get it done. Dante Moore rolls over Penn State in this one in dramatic fashion. Oregon over Penn State. Bama versus Georgia. SEC battle. Bama won this game by a lot last year, it was going to seem like, but then Georgia came back and it became a very close game. It looked like Bama was very far apart from Georgia in that first half. Jalen Milroe was cooking, the defense was cooking. They were going chef on them. But then Georgia came back and Georgia made it a great game. I think we see a little bit of the same this year. I think Georgia might get off to a hot start. Alabama might have to come back. Ty Simpson is the best quarterback in college football the past 3 weeks. You know why? Ty Simpson had to go down to Florida State, where it was pouring rain all week, and they knew that game was going to be rough. First drive, no rain. Ty Simpson, perfect offense. Second drive, pouring rain. They can't get anything going the whole entire rest of the game. Thomas Castellanos has the running ability. Florida State wins that game. I think Alabama, what I saw from them that game was, this is a good team. This is rough weather. That's what Kirby Smart said as well. Ty Simpson the next week played only the first half, was 17 for 17 with over 200 yards. Against Wisconsin, he played even better. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country the past few weeks, if not the best, Ty Simpson. And I think that's why Alabama gets the win over Georgia on Saturday. Alabama over Georgia at Georgia. This might be Georgia's first home loss in a very long time, but I think Alabama gets it done. Let's go. Roll Tide, roll over the Bulldogs. And that's about for my 6 hot takes this week. Stay tuned for a great weekend coverage on Schoolyard Sports for college football. Now, the best to last question day. This week's question day is this the most competitive MLB season of all time? No team is on pace for 100 wins this year. Brewers are going to get close to it, but I don't think they'll get it. This has been a very competitive MLB season. We've seen a lot of fluctuations between teams being great, teams being bad, like the Mets and the Tigers, great to bad, bad to great. A lot of situations going on in MLB this season. Is this the most competitive or the worst MLB season ever? That's about for question day this week. That's about for Schoolyard Sports Lame Frank, episode 232. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports. Follow Schoolyard Sports on X at Schoolyard Sport. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the best sports content in the world. Be back here next week. Episode 233. Stay tuned.